Hi, I'm William Stewart. Welcome back to our verse by verse study on the book of Second Thessalonians. Welcome. We're in chapter 2, a informative and fascinating section on the end times, specifically the tribulation, discussing the man of sin, the man of perdition, the Antichrist. We're wrapping up this section on the book where it discusses the end times. Remember, that for those who've looked at the other videos, I encourage you to look at the prior videos in the book. The book's quite informative that Paul is doing this to help the Thessalonians with their hope, which they seem to be stumbling over, and the what exactly Christ coming again meant for them. So in verses 10 to 12 today, Paul says, and with all deceitfulness in the King James, hard for me to say, sorry, of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So Paul's discussing specifically those people in the time of the tribulation, but I think that it can also be the same characteristics are both in with other non-believers in the Old and Testament and the other parts of the New Testament as well. But the the deceit is heightened with the actual presence of the Antichrist in the tribulation. Now, as a reminder, the tribulation is a 7-year period between the rapture, when Paul comes and gathers his saints from all time to meet him in the air and take them home and out of the way of the wrath to come, which is the 7-year tribulation where God will judge the world with his wrath. After this time, Christ will come again. The Antichrist appears in the tribulation. We're not completely sure when. He's first mentioned in Revelation 13, which is probably at the midpoint of the tribulation, the abomination of desolation. Whether he's present before that, it could well be, but his real power and influence seems to appear at the time of the abomination of desolation, his desecration of the Jewish temple, midpoint in the tribulation, and he really reigns with power for the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. So, verse 11, for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. So the people in the tribulation will be deceived. And in general, those that God haven't chosen to be saved will be deceived. They'll believe all the lies given by the Antichrist and will follow him, hating God. Verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in righteousness. Otherwise, they will be judged. These people in the tribulation and will not be with God forever. They will be, as it says, destroyed and apart from God. Now, the same, we also know that in the time of the church and before, the people are also deluded, and God has given them over to their sin. And so the same sort of process acts in people of the current time. And yet the amount of delusion that these people will follow with the Antichrist will be even stronger during the tribulation in their denial of God. Okay, so we've come to the end of this section. We've discussed in summary, the time of the tribulation. We've discussed the Antichrist and his characteristics and actions and the effect on most people. Those there will be saints or believers in the time of the tribulation that God chooses. And the 144,000, we read about them in Revelation 6. God chosen them out of the tribes of Israel. They also will spread the gospel. And we know from the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 24, and probably I'm assuming that some others will be saved, as it seems to have that implication with all the saints in heaven described in Revelation 15. So these it'll be very difficult times, and the last 3.5 years, the son of perdition will lead the world. So that's probably more than what is in the text, perhaps a bit of a summary to help you. But I'm glad you're with me today to learn about this, because it has to do with our hope, has to do with our confidence before God that we will not know God's wrath. Join us next time, please. We'll begin some very interesting and helpful instructions for the church itself as we finish out this book, second half of Thessalonians 2 and in 2 Thessalonians 3. Goodbye for now.